brothers and servants. The men were workers. Some were teachers in black schools or undertakers, or some worked in companies like my grandfather at the American Cast Iron Pipe Company. As pipes came out, he tagged them with a number. And my grandmother was a domestic and housewife mother and head deaconess in the AME Zion Church. We lived within the shadow of overt racism and discrimination, within the shadow of black folk, at the mercy of the police, schools, merchants, families, teachers, and government. And our experience with housing, God, food, and the courts of law were influenced daily by these forces. I offer this very short autobiographical statement because I believe that the definition of culture given by George Lamming is quite comprehensive and clear. Culture is a means whereby people feed themselves and the ways in which they experience their existence. I didn't say anything about writing. I didn't say anything about art. I didn't say anything about music. But what I did say is what you should understand why we're all sitting here looking at each other. Because that definition of culture, which is a definition about life and staying alive on this earth, is quite comprehensive. Thank you. Thank you, brother. He continues, a dominant class, exclusively white, laid the foundation of a cultural force that would influence all of our lives. It was the ideology of racism, a morality whose guiding light was the aristocracy of the skin. Black was a commodity for cheap labor. White was the symbol and source of authority. So we see then that the school, the church, the law, all contributed to our oppression. And education, above all, was intended to be unavailable to me and to you. And basically only mostly to whites. That's not a racist statement, that's America. And this education then would be an instrument of social stratification, an index of privilege and status. The purpose of me and people like me when we came into the university was to explode the aura or mystique of the educated class while keeping a genuine respect for the, and I quote, the creative power of learning. That is the task of the truly creative preacher, activist preacher, activist teacher, activist lawyer, activist writer, activist journalist, activist human being, activist student, activist mother, activist father. So the struggle for freedom and identity against this system has influenced my imagination and the creativity of many writers. That's part of a longer talk that I don't have the strength to do. And I start a conversation with my audience because I no longer get on stages and tell you what you should be about. Because you know what you should be about. I no longer get on stages and tell you what you should do because you know what you should do. But in the talk, I converse with you. I say, finally, it is time for a conversation amongst us. Let me tell you what I see about the world, and let us see if we can come to some even ground, finally, to talk to each other about what is not only happening in Philadelphia and in New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Nigeria, Bosnia, all the places on this planet. Let's look at it and see, because the same thing that's happening in all those places is happening right here, except they're different manifestations of the same thing. And that's what we got to do. and very quiet voices began a discussion with everybody we come in contact with about what is going on in the world, how it affects us as we move to the 21st century, as we move to the 21st century, almost not even dealing with each other. And we've got to look at each other and begin that whole process of understanding that every conversation that happens today is a conversation about people who are seeking to renew their power. It is a conversation about imperialists, who will strive to kill you any place they are, period. And so we read in the newspapers what people are writing. It is imperative that you answer back. It is imperative that you make people like Clarence Thomas one of the lost ones. It is imperative that you write the other judges on that court when he consistently outrights everybody on that court. He consistently stays the pivotal vote on that Supreme Court. And brothers, I insist that you think, and sisters, I insist that you think that it was never a conversation about brothers and sisters. Come on. Although they tried to make it a conversation that black women were against black men. I got up on stages of America and said, this is not the case. This is a case about a man who got all the benefits of affirmative action. This is a case about a man who came through universities and then he turned around and said, no, I don't want to deal with it anymore, and I will come and be a white man. I broke it down. I don't have the strength to go into deeper than that, but that's a simple way of saying it. We have 9 white people on that court. And you have a Time now. The Time magazine, a month ago, if you read it, will have on there Uncle Thomas. Did you read it? Go back and read it. It's the one, it's a Time magazine with the cover on it about, what's that cover? It's either about the pill or it's about abortion, whatever. But inside, they do the bit, and they call this man Uncle Thomas. What is so amazing about this is that that's a conservative magazine. And they were appalled and upset that this man would begin to write, after he voted, an opinion. They said, motherfucker, you don't have an opinion other than our opinion. They were saying, how could you have an opinion when we give you every opinion? But now you are writing an opinion further than we have told you can go. And so they were upset, mind you. Isn't it amazing? You had to read it. You had to laugh at it. You had to say, isn't it amazing? Because this is indeed this country. Is a coon show on many levels. This country, if you really look at it, it's about macabre things. This country is a theater of the absurd. And all you have to do is look at that, look at the courtroom where that judge is holding court, and you understand the theater of the absurd. Yes, you do. When you look at those 9 judges, you understand the theater of the absurd. Yes, you do. And you've got to understand that this is what we are asked to participate in. And it's important for us to understand that we must take a step back and say, I will not participate in my own death. I will not be a co-conspirator in my own death and dying. You will not help me, make me help kill me and myself and my ideas. You got to deal with that. I remember reading Robert Oppenheimer after the atom bomb was dropped. He said, I have become death. And I thought about that. Quoting Indian literature, And I thought about that. I said, what is he saying about I have become death? He has said, finally, we men have become God. We have become God. We can now kill at will. We have become God. I have become death. That I can make death occur on this earth like it has never occurred before. I can make death rain from the skies, and I can watch that death happen before my eyes. I have become death. I have become death. And I thought, why don't we scream out against death and dying? Because we have become so familiar with death that death does not even disturb us. He said, I have become death. We are, must be, must quote, must live. I have become life. And therefore I must protest any and all killings, murderings, rapings, invasions, imperialistic actions, executions. I have become life, and I must burn silver and red with life for our children, for the universe, for the sake of being human, and we must make all ideas of I have become death extinct. All the carnivorous animals must die out, including the human ones. I was on a panel with a scientist who went, oh, he says, you know, the amazing thing is that all the carnivorous animals are dying off the planet Earth. Isn't that amazing? I got up behind him and said, now we must make sure all the carnivorous human animals disappear from the earth. You gotta hear that. Because the law of correspondence teaches us that what happens on a high level happens on the lower level. So if you're telling me that the lower animals are dying out, the carnivorous ones, then it's just a matter of time for the so-called higher animals to die out too. And we've got to complain about them even staying alive with their meat-eating ways. If you do nothing else when you leave here, all of you should gather to write letters of protest against this man down on that Supreme Court. Don't write it to him, because Clarence will ignore it. Write it to the 8 other judges. Hear me. Write the letters. Tell them how much you are in utter shock at the performance of this man. Come on. Because you see, they tell him what to do. But they don't want to be disturbed. Let us disturb, you know physics, let us disturb their space and cause some change, make some change happen. You say that's a little thing. No, it's not. You get enough letters, hundreds of thousands of letters, people will certainly do something at some particular point. Tell them to shut the hell up at some point. On April 6, 1945, when that bomb was detonated over Hiroshima, with a force of about 12,500 tons of TNT, over 70,000 people were killed instantly, and another 70,000 would die of radiation burns 3 days later. And Nagasaki happened, and that bomb had a force of 22,000 tons of TNT. Think on that. You can't even think on it, can you? No, you can't. You can't think on that. You can't imagine that. You have to see it. You see, you have to see it. You have to go to the movies and see it. They said the Japanese were warned. They should have known what would have happened. They were warned. They were warned against scorched clothing. They were warned against shadows standing still where a human one stood. They were warned against maimed eyes of children. They were warned against skeletons exploding on the land. They said it was not racial to drop this on an Asian country. then why all those old sly cartoons about Tojo and Tojo and Tojo and so Sally, so Sally, so Sally, and the magnified eyes and teeth of pilots as they zero in on suicide planes, in their suicide planes? What we know today is that this earth cannot support imperialists, murderers. This earth cannot support the meat eaters. This earth cannot support carnivorous animals. This earth cannot support those who would invent just for the sake of inventing and become death. We must all say, I have become life. Look at me. I have become life. 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 I walk in light. I move like the dawn with a tint of blue in my hair. I have become life. I say I have become life. So I walk a path that clears away the debris of imperialists, right-wingers, racists, killers, pornographers, sexes. I have become life. Light. Life. Life. And I move my eyes and my hands holding up light. Life. Light. For the world. For the world. How do you do that? How do you intelligent ones do that? The thinkers. How do you do that? Certainly not just thinking all the time. Certainly not even doing outrageous things sometimes. Certainly not ignoring people sometimes. Certainly not looking down on the so-called ordinary people, saying they're behind the time. No, they're on time. They're surviving. See, we haven't told them what they need to hear. Stay with me. But they know how to protect themselves and stay alive. Look at them. They stay alive. Not well always. Not always well. But they do stay alive. Which means that we've got to learn from those contradictions that we had in the 60s and 50s and 70s and 80s and 90s. We got to understand finally that people tire always of our doctrine sometimes. We come into people and we say, we have the way. And we come in there invading them like imperialists. And they say, we've seen you before. Some of you will call welfare people. Some of you will call this left person and this nationalist and that other person. So we'll back away from you until you know how to come at us in a human fashion. It is now about coming towards people in a human fashion. Not with just the idea and explanation. If they can't define what a capitalist is, if they can't define the right way or what a lumpen is, fuck that. How do you put it? So therefore they will know and they won't even give it a name. Huh? That's what teaching's about. True teaching is about making people hear and understand the word, and you never give a name to it. Why give a name to it? The name doesn't matter. What matters is that if they listen and do and participate in this struggle. So if you hear no other word that I say, it's a conversation that I couldn't read tonight, but that's my conversation. Saying, come on, you move into the 21st century, people. Stop this. Stop this, because if you had the way, we would be there now. If any one organization had the way, we'd be home free right now. But what we do know, with many organizations, as Sister Ramona said and Sister Pam said, coming together with coalitions, not always agreeing, but working together on a mission, on the move always, saying simply, here we is, America. Here we is, world. I know I teach English. Here we is, world. We're coming at you with some ideas. We're coming at you together. We're coming at you in all shades, and we're saying you will not succeed in wiping out the earth, and therefore wiping out us. That's a hard thing to do. It means, brothers, I mean all the men, you got to give up your ways, your mannish ways. You got to give up your ways of not listening to women. You got to give up your ways that even when I speak today in Philadelphia, men will get up when I speak even today. It's amazing after all the years. Utterly amazing. I'm utterly amazed by it. Even today I'm amazed by it. You gotta give up the sexism. It won't work anymore. You gotta give up fucking every woman you see. Stop it. Discipline yourselves. You gotta give up the drugs, people. Come on. Don't tell me how it makes you hear Coltrane. Don't tell me how it makes you think. You know, you gotta give it up. Because anytime they want to wipe you out, all they gotta do is just put it in the stuff and there you is, gone. And then we're gonna get romantic about the person when they dead. No, I want you alive. I want you clearly clear. I want you thinking. I want you covering my back. Not high, but covering my back. Wide awake. Eyes wide awake. Looking to the left and right and eyes to the back of the head also. You can't do that high. I want you going into these classes at UPenn, Temple, Bryn Mawr, all these places, Harvard, Yale, with a very clear idea why you're there. You're not there because they made exceptions for you. You are there because my mama should have been there. But she wasn't. But you're there because you come off the backs of black men, black women, men of color who would never hit a university at all. But we open those suckers up and said, come on, here comes this force. It's a social force there that made these universities open up. That's why they're trying to close them up now, because they say there's no social force. And we say, yes, there is. There is one. Hear what I say, young brother, young sister. Hear what I say. Understand that we will leave behind an earth that no one can inhabit. If you don't begin the beginning work now, if you don't even make the people who come to you with strange ideas sometimes shut up and say, no, this is how it's going to be done now. We need you. We need you organized on campuses. We need you organizing in your churches. We need you organizing all over this planet, in your homes even. Don't tell me, brother, you're going to leave your wife because the sister never caught up with you. Well, you were together 20 fucking years. Why couldn't you help teach her? Huh? Come on. You see, I'm talking the truth. I'm talking about organizing ourselves, these cells here, so we can go out and organize other people. It can't be half-assed now. Because you see, the earth, I'm not getting metaphysical on you, but the earth is saying some very real things to us. If you do not get it together, I will give up on you. I am willing to wait millions of years for another species to come along. And it is important for us, all of us who believe in humans, to say, no, earth, no, do not give up on us. We promise we will struggle on this earth to make people who walk supposedly upright do that which is right. That's hard work. You didn't ask to be born here now. You said it's too much. No, it's not too much. Because we're talking about emergency times. We're talking about dangerous times. We're talking about madmen in the Congress. There are madmen and women in that Congress. Listen to them. If you really want to see insanity, listen to what they're saying now about you and me. That is mad talk. If you really want to hear insanity, go into the classrooms now. Insanity is happening in the classroom all over again. Because people said, I don't have to teach you anything anymore. I don't have to teach any multicultural things anymore. We're going to go back to the old days. That is to say, let us go back to the time where we can teach you in sociology about yourselves. You see, when we did those experiments about those little rats in cages, you know, that'll be y'all again. So what I'm saying simply, demonstrate when you can, wherever you are, on any job you are, any place you are, you must organize. Organize, teach, and above all, you must read and deal. Because it is going to be going to the 21st century, how to live. How are you going to live? How are we all going to live? I want to end up with a poem. A poem that I dedicated to a woman by the name of Carmen McRae. A woman who used her voice in such a fashion that you heard genius. And this is like the middle passage, because we are all in the middle passage now. The great thing about America is that it's brought whites, Latinos, gays, Jews, Muslims, everybody, Chicanos, Puerto Ricans, into a middle passage. That's where we are. And we gotta survive this one. I am. I was, I am. I was, I am. I am. I was, I am. I was, I am. It was. It was the coming. It was the coming that was bad. It was the coming across the ocean that was bad. It was the coming that was bad. It was the packing, all of us in ships that was bad. It was the packing, all of us in ships that was bad. It was the coming, it was the coming, it was the crossing, it was the crossing, it was the crossing, it was the crossing, it was the crossing that was bad. It was the raping that was bad. It was the raping that was bad. It was the raping. It was the raping. It was the raping that was bad. It was the silence, noise, silence, noise, silence, noise, silence, noise. It was. I am. It was a boat. It was the boat. It was the boat. It was the ship. It was the ship. It was the landing that was bad. It was the landing that was bad. It was the landing that was bad. It was the standing on auction blocks that was bad. It was the standing on auction blocks. Don't touch me. Oh, look, oh, yeah, oh, look, oh, yeah, Jesus, Master, oh, yeah. It was a standing that was bad. It was a giving birth that was bad. It was a giving birth that was bad. Every 9 months. I shall be, I was, I am, mother, father, baba, mama, they know not what they do here. They know not what they do there. You want to know who I am, huh? Want to know who I am, huh? Can't you see who I am, huh? Can't you see who I am, huh? Don't you know who I am, huh? Can't you see who I am? What? Where are you? There you are. Where are you? There you are, looking at me, that I lost you. There you are, thought I lost you. Looking at me. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. America, looking at me. Whatever I remember, I forget. Whatever I forget, I remember. Whatever I don't want to remember, I forget. Whatever I want to forget, I remember. I am here, they're here. You're here, I'm here. Love. What is it? Love. America, you don't know. No, you know. We know. It was the coming that was bad. It was the coming that was bad, across oceans, across seas, across eyes, staring. It was the coming, 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 dying, living, coming, dying, living, dying, coming, dying, living, how to live, how to live, how to live, blood, how to live, African, how to live, Latinos, how to live, Native Americans, how to live, Asians, how to live, Jews, how to live, Muslims, how to live, lesbians, how to live, gays, how to live,